It's about balance. So that's by way of introduction. If you have just joined, we're going to start now. My name's Isobel. Welcome, Vodafone. This is day 5 of our Yoga for Mental Health Awareness. Nadi Shodhana breathing, alternate nostril breathing. Some of you may have done this before, but I will explain it for the benefit of newcomers. So, provided you haven't got blocked nostrils, you might want to blow your nose now if you have, and that you don't get dizzy when doing this technique, in which case you should stop. Take your peace fingers and place them on your brow chakra, your Anja chakra. We're going to use our 4th and 5th finger, using the right hand, to block the left nostril and the thumb to block the right nostril. And we're going to breathe through alternate nostrils by blocking off the one that we're not using. So first 2 fingers to the brow chakra. If that's uncomfortable, you can tuck them underneath. Bring your 4th and 5th finger to your left nostril. Open your right nostril and inhale. Then block your right nostril, wait a moment, and then exhale through your left nostril. Inhale through your left nostril, block the left nostril, and exhale through your right nostril. That's 1 round. So keep going with that, closing your eyes and bringing your mental focus to your brow chakra, your Anja chakra, which is just between and above your eyebrows. We inhale through the right, blocking off the left. We pause in the middle, we block both nostrils, and we exhale through the left, blocking off the right. Then we inhale through the left, we block off both, and we pause, and we exhale through the right. That's 1 round. So as you get used to that, you feel more confident with that breathing, you can add in some counting. Inhaling through the right for 4, holding in the middle, and exhaling through the left for 8, and vice versa. So if you can keep that count going, you might find my talking distracting. I apologize. Try and focus on your own breath, making sure that your exhalation is longer than your inhalation. So now we're inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8, inhaling through the same nostril you've just exhaled through, because you're alternating, and then you'll exhale through the other nostril. So the inhalation follows the exhalation on the same nostril. Pause in the middle and exhale through the other side. As you get more confident with that, you can extend the pause in the middle. If you're able to wait between your inhalation and your exhalation, this is called kumbhaka, or breath retention. And it's really valuable for stilling the mind. When we start to be able to find and to reside in the pause between breaths, then we start to be able to find and reside in the pause between thoughts. And that's really helpful for stilling the mind. The purpose of yoga, according to the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, is Chitta Vritti Nirodha, stilling of the restless fluctuations of the mind. Continuing with our Nadi Shodhana breathing. Each round begins and ends with the right nostril. So your exhalation through the right nostril is the end of a round. So make the next round your last round. And when you've exhaled fully through your right nostril, release your right hand into your lap and just breathe normally. And we'll stay here for a couple of deep breaths, waiting for everyone to catch up. And gently flutter your eyelids open. Roll your shoulders up to your ears and then just release them on an exhalation. Do that once more. Slowly glide them up, inhaling as you go, and then exhale. Inhale, float the arms up in front of you. Make a fist with your hands. So tuck your thumb in and wrap your knuckles round on top. And we're just going to rotate the wrists in one direction and then in the other. We're going to be doing some downward facing dogs and some planks today, and we're going to be on all fours. So it's a little bit hard on the wrists. I just want to make sure that you've warmed them up nicely. And then release your hands down to the sides. So if you've got a block handy or a cushion or a pillow, have it just in front of you. Sit up tall, float those arms out in front again, and take your right hand across your left, crossing at the elbow. Bend your elbows now and lift your hands up so you've got kind of a diamond shape here. And then see if you can bring the backs of your palms together, or maybe you can reach round and through and bring your palms together. So those of you who know yoga know this is eagle position, eagle arms. Inhale, lift your hands up, and exhale, draw your belly button to your spine and round the back. So it's Garuda arms, eagle arms, with the movement of cat-cow. We inhale as we open the chest, and we exhale as we round the back. This is where your block's handy. You can start to bring the forearms towards the block, or if you're very flexible, maybe you can bring them towards the floor. Inhaling as you look up, opening the chest, exhaling as you round the spine, bringing the elbows down. Keep going with that, matching your movement to your breath. Keep your hips firmly anchored on the floor. Inhale as you draw the arms up, and exhale as you draw them down. We'll do one more on this side. Inhaling as you open the chest. Exhaling as you round the spine and draw the elbows down, and then release the arms and sit up tall. So if you're in Sukhasana, you might want to change your feet so the other foot goes out in front. If you're kneeling or sitting in any other posture, then just stay as you are. You may need more blocks, you may not need a block. Take the arms out in front, and this time we're going to take the left arm over the right. Bend at the elbows, so you form that diamond shape with your arms, or a V shape with your arms. Maybe you can get the backs of your hands together, or maybe you can reach right around and get your palms together. That's quite strong. You should feel a nice stretch across the back of the shoulders. Again, we inhale to lift the elbows, and we exhale, rounding the spine and bringing the elbows down towards your block, your cushion, or your mat. Inhale, keep your tailbone tucked. Maybe you can look a little bit higher, and exhale as you round. So opening the throat in this position, provided your neck's okay, provided it's comfortable for you, stimulates the thyroid gland, and that helps to support your immune system. We inhale and we exhale. Stop if you've had enough, or we're going to do one more. Inhaling, tuck the tailbone, lift the elbows, stretch out the chest. Exhale, round the back. Bring the elbows to the floor. Keep the elbows to the floor, but untwist here and stretch the arms away. Inhale again, lengthening the body, and exhale as you fold down. We'll do one more of these. Inhale, draw your chest forward, lengthen your spine, and exhale to come forward and down. Inhale, press your fingers into the mat, come up to a tall position, and now we're going to move into a kneeling position. So come over onto all fours. Make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders and your hips and knees are in line as well. Everything hip distance apart. We're going to stretch out the wrists. So take one hand, turn it out at right angles. And if you can go further than that, take it all the way round so that your fingertips are facing your knee. If that's too intense, then release it to halfway. If it's not intense enough, you don't feel it strongly enough, then keeping your wrist down, take your hips back slightly. That will increase the stretch in the front of the arm. Really nice stretch, really helpful stretch if you spend a lot of time on a keyboard, either typing or playing the piano, whatever you do. Hold it there if you want more, or inhale to release. Gently release that hand. Give it a shake if you need to, bring it to the floor, and then go on the other side. So fingertips can come out to the side, then come all the way around. So you open that wrist. You can increase the stretch by taking your weight back. You can stay here, you can release, you can take a break, or you can bring the other hand back in and stretch out both wrists. Those of you who know lion pose, feel free if you want to. One more breath here. Gently release the right wrist first and the left. Sit back on your heels in child's pose, stretching the arms out in front, maybe bringing your chest down to the mat, maybe your brow will come to the mat, maybe you need to open your knees a little bit wider to find that depth here. Inhale, exhale deeply. So this is Balasana Child's Pose. Come back to this pose at any point in the class if you've had enough. Otherwise, we're coming up to all fours again. So this time you're going to bring your left arm forward, thumb faces the ceiling, palm faces forward. And you're going to slide your right foot back, opposite arm to leg, trying to keep your hips really level here. This is important. This hip will want to open, so draw it back down, engage your lower abdominal muscles to give you stability. If you feel stable here, then you can float that back foot up to the same height as your hip and your hand. Keeping everything in line, keeping your eye gaze forward and down. If you're really working to keep that right hip in line, you'll feel your lower abdominals working. You'll also feel the bottom ribs starting to work as well. Hold it here if you can. If you've had enough, slide the foot back in or drop the toes to the floor. If you want more, take your hand out to the side, reach around for your foot, lift your knee, lift your thigh, lift your foot, lift your heart, lift your eye gaze. Vyagrasana, tiger pose. This is your tiger stretching out in the morning. Release the bind if you're in the full pose, stretch out, and then slide your toes down and back in and your hand back in. Exhale into child's pose and just flip your palms to the ceiling to release off your wrists here. We're going on the other side, exactly the same. Right arm comes forward, thumb faces the ceiling, palm faces back. Slide the left foot back, toes down. You can stay here, or you can lift that heel so that that leg comes to hip height. Eye gaze forward and down. Really working to tuck that left hip down, toes face the floor. Advanced option, hand to foot, knee comes up, heart comes up. Keep working that right shoulder around, keep working that left hip down. Go higher if you can. One more breath here. Inhale to release. Exhale to draw everything back in and down and come into child's pose. Come forward into all fours again. Turn your left toes out and slide your right foot away. So we're coming into modified gate pose. Stretch your fingertips up to the ceiling. Remember this pose, it will be a lower option later on. So you can take this, or if you're an experienced yogi and you know what you're doing, you can come into side plank. Just release that foot here. Look up at the ceiling or straight ahead. So wherever you are, we're now going to release down onto all fours. Take a break in child's pose if you want to, or we go straight away on the other side. Same thing. So toes come out, left foot slides away. So now you're in modified gait, opening your chest to the left, or you can lift that right leg up, take it across into side plank. Wrap your shoulders back and down, draw them together, and lift your hips. Hold it here. One more breath. Wherever you are, come back to all fours and sit back in child's pose. Inhale, come up to all fours. Now we're going to tuck the toes, press into the hands, lift the knees, press your chest towards your thighs, press your heels down towards the mat, and lift your bottom high to the ceiling. Downward facing dog. Stretch your heels back, stretch your chest to your thighs, make your fingertips light and press into the mounds of your fingers. Mounds of your first finger and your thumb, that should lighten the pressure off your wrists here. Inhale, lift your left foot high to the ceiling with the toes still turned down and the hip closed, three-legged dog. And as you exhale, bring your weight forward as if you were coming into a single-legged plank and hug that left knee up into your chest. Hold it tight up into your chest and around the spine if you can. If that's too much, bring the knee to the floor. So here, your option is to come back into that modified gate pose I just showed you, or you can take that left knee across under your right armpit, stretch it towards the front of the room, rotate on your back foot, and come into fallen star, sometimes known as fallen triangle. So here you want to avoid dumping your weight into your shoulder. You want to press into the foot, both feet, and lift your hips. So the more you share your weight with your feet, the easier it is on your shoulder. Too much, come out of it. Inhale, release the hand to the mat, slide that foot back in, lift it up to the chest, slide back into plank pose, come to all fours, child's pose for a rest. Stay here if you want to, as long as you need to. When you're ready, we're back on all fours. We come into plank, hold your plank, then come back to all fours, sit back, come forward again and into downward facing dog. Heels to the floor, eye gaze to the thighs, weight in the outside of the arms. Take your right foot up to the ceiling, stretch it away, and as you come forward into a three-legged plank, hug your right knee into your chest. Same options. You can bring your right knee to the floor and come into modified plank. Definitely recommend that if you're not sure of your shoulder or wrist strength. Otherwise, you're taking your right leg underneath your left armpit, stretch your foot away, keep plenty of weight in your feet to take the pressure off your shoulder and wrist. Lift your hips high if you can. Stretch, 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 stretch. Or you're in modified gait. When you're ready, float that arm back down, come back to all fours and sit back into child's pose. Stretch your arms away. Opening the knees if you need to get your body down onto the mat. Surrender into the mat. Flick your wrists up to the ceiling a couple of times to give your hands, wrists a bit of a break. Deep breath here. Inhale, press into the fingertips, walk the fingers back up towards you so you're in a kneeling position. Draw the knees and come up to a high kneel. So you're kneeling up here. If this is too much for your knees, then take extra padding underneath your knees. You can fold your mat over to give you a little bit of extra support here. Bring the hands to the hips, roll the shoulders back and down to the heart. Inhale, and as you exhale, slide your hands up so your thumbs come to your lower rib cage and see if you can start to tilt your ribs. Tilt your ribs so your heart opens towards the ceiling. Now, what you want to watch here is that you're not crimping the lower back. You want to lift before you go anywhere. Sure that you're not leaning back towards your heels either. So only go as far as you can go without losing the integrity there. So some of you may be able to advance the move by reaching towards your heels. You can tuck your toes to bring your heels a bit nearer to you if you want to. Or a good option is to have your blocks here and use your blocks so that you can take your shoulders back but keep your chest lifted. You don't want to end up collapsing here. So use those blocks to give you more space in this pose. This is Ustrasana, camel pose. So far we've been an eagle and a tiger and a dog and a cat, and now we're a camel. Wrap the shoulders back and down, lift the chest, open your heart space. Inhale here. Bring your hands to your lower rib cage, and as you lift up, sink your hips back down and stretch out in child's pose. Inhale, come to all fours. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips high into down face dog. And then walk your feet towards your hands, so we're in a forward fold, and gradually come up to standing. So stand with your feet hip distance apart. Have plenty of space around you because we're going to do a balance posture here. So you need a bit of wobble room. Wrap your shoulders back and down. Take your right foot across your left. Press your toes into the mat and lift your heel. Take your hands out in front like we did in the warm-up. Left hand, right arm underneath, left arm on top. Cross at the elbows and bring those arms into eagle arms. We're going for the full Garudasana eagle pose. Bring the backs of your hands together or your palms. Bend your supporting leg. So this is important. You want to bend your supporting leg as much as you possibly can, either keeping your toes on the floor or wrapping them around. Possibly you can get that foot all the way around your calf. You want to lift your elbows. You want to tuck your tailbone. Draw your belly button to your spine and sink low in that supporting leg. Stay here for 3 or 4 deep breaths. Keep working that tailbone under. Keep bending deeply into that leg. Your elbows can lift higher. Your eye gaze can come up. Find a drishti. Find a point at which your eye gaze can rest and your mind can be still. If it's too much or if you can't balance, bring your right toes to the floor. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Find calm here. Gently unravel the arms, unravel the foot. Give your hands a shake. Just wiggle through the hips to release off any way that you need to. We're going on the other side. Find your Tadasana, find your mountain, find your strength before we go anywhere. Now take your left foot across the right, toes to the floor, left arm underneath, right arm on top. Bend at the elbows, backs of the hands or palms can come together. Inhale and exhale as you bend your standing leg. So maybe your left foot comes up, maybe it winds behind, maybe one side is easier than the other, maybe they're both equally impenetrable. Tuck the tailbone under, lift the elbows. Find the stillness of your eye gaze. Soften into the mat. Spread out your toes. Use the whole of that foot on which you are balancing. Use the ground. Lift the elbows if you can. Soar. That's S-O-A-R, not S-O-R-E. One more deep breath here. And then unwrap the feet, unwrap the arms. Stand in standing Shavasana. Just close the eyes for a couple of moments. Couple of breaths. See how you feel. See how one hip feels relative to the other. And then we're just going to come down to the floor. So press your feet into the floor. Sit as tall as you can. We're coming to a reclined position. So as we've done all week, you can either float your hands forward and use your abdominal muscles to lower you to the floor gently. If they don't want to play, bring your hands down. Or an intermediate option is to bring your hands to the back of your thighs. You're going to go down as slowly as you can. Set yourself up on the floor and hug your knees into your chest. Keep hold of your left leg and send your right leg away from you on the mat. Heel comes to the ground. Inhale, and as you exhale, swap legs. So your hands are around your right shin, your left foot is stretching away, stretching into your right hip crease and opening up your left hip flexor. Keep alternating with your breath. To make it harder, instead of allowing that long leg to come to the floor, you can float it just above the floor. Make it harder still, you can lift your head and shoulders so that your nose comes towards your knee, and you can keep them lifted as you alternate, drawing knee to chest, sending the foot away. Do what feels right for you. So it's just a final blast on your abdominal muscles. Make sure you've done an even number on each side. We started on the left, so make this your last round, finishing on the right. Then hug both knees into your chest. Relax your head onto the mat. One more pose here, happy baby pose. Press your feet to the ceiling like we did yesterday, but this time you're keeping your knees bent. Take your hands to the outside of your feet and draw your feet towards you so your knees come in towards your armpits. If that's not possible, if you can't get hold of your feet, then just get hold of the backs of your thighs or your calves. If you can reach your feet, press your heels away and draw your knees in. This is happy baby pose and under balasana. Not a very elegant pose, but very good for releasing off into the hips. One more deep breath here. And then gently draw your knees together. Release your feet to the floor. You can stay here, or we're coming into Shavasana. Send your feet away. Let your feet flop out to the sides and your hips open up, palms to the ceiling, shoulders heavy into the mat. Now connect with your breath. See how your body is feeling. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Bring your mind into stillness. Let go of everything. If you can introduce a tiny gap between your inhalation and your exhalation, you can introduce gaps between your thoughts. So the mind is like a deep lake, and you want to make its surface absolutely still. So the gaps between the waves, the vrittis, the mental disturbances need to grow bigger. The waves subside. Your mind becomes still and calm, and the surface of the pool becomes like a mirror in which you can perceive your true self. So I'm going to leave you in Shavasana today. Leave you to come out of it when you're ready. I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Lots and lots has been written about breath control and breathing to control the mind. But I'd like to refer you to Adi Shankara, Shankaracharya, who was a monk and writer on Vedanta, wrote all the major commentaries on the Vedas, some of which I'm studying. And his wisdom is this, that the true pranayama or breath control is that we exhale all delusion and we inhale the reality of who we really are. And in the pause between those breaths, we maintain a steady and firm conviction. Know who you are and breathe out all illusion. Namaste.